Welcome to your doom.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
This episode is sponsored by the Comedy Cabin in Janesville, Wisconsin, where you can get your tickets to see Sasha Rosser on May 25th at cabinlaughs.com. Again, that is cabinlaughs.com to see Sasha Rosser, who you're about to hear from right now.
Be there. I don't know. That's what Monster Truck said.
Be square.
I feel like I had to say something. You say something now, too.
Yes,
Yeah.
it'll be disgusting. I promise. It'll be funny.
Yeah, they'll sell you the whole seat, but you only need the edge.
All right. Here comes the screen wipe.
Oh, yeah. Go mouth to south, man.
Once, but in the 80s.
That's the perfect way to start. Welcome. We're here with Sasha Rosser.
Hello.
Rosser,
Yeah,
yeah, Rosser.
I said Rosser?
You said Rossner.
I fucked it up.
That's a new one. Every single day, I'm amazed by how people mispronounce my name.
My favorite part was we practiced like a minute ago and I already messed it up. It's my first day.
Jake, how do you like your meat?
Rosser.
Ross.
Yeah, you do.
All right. So anyways, we're here with Sasha Rosser.
Yeah.
And our comic spotlight, I think, is what we're calling it. So
Yeah.
thank you for coming down. I can't wait to kind of dive into some of these questions, find out how you got into comedy, and like basically what your approach is.
Absolutely. Thanks
Yeah.
for having me,
No,
man.
we really appreciate you taking the time. And now, how long have you been doing comedy?
I started in February of 2019, so like just over 4 years.
Okay. So what inspired you into doing it?
I wanted to do comedy from a young age.
Okay.
But it was one of those things.
What's young? I'm sorry.
Oh, I guess as soon as I figured out what stand-up comedy was, I was like, this is a job? You can
Oh,
just
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about
Okay.
dicks on stage?
Hell
Like,
yeah.
that's amazing. But then I figured out that this was a job kind of late. So when I hit 17, I find out who Lisa Lampanelli is.
Okay.
And I'm obsessively consuming her horrible jokes. And I was like, wow, I would love to be this woman.
Yeah.
I want to be disgusting and be like, I'm just gargling cum. Isn't it funny? And then people love that about her. So I was like,
Yeah.
but I thought of that job as something like, I don't know, did you guys ever pretend to be rock stars when you were little? Like, oh,
I
I'm
still
gonna
do.
stunt.
That was like
actually.
when I was little.
Pretend, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like earlier today.
Right
I
on, right on.
I like to do. I tell people I play the acoustic theremin.
There
and,
you
and
go.
that joke is really funny if you know what a theremin is.
I do. It's air guitar for nerds.
Yeah, there you go.
Because air guitar is for cool people normally. Yeah, well, so, I mean, I feel like when I was a little kid, I liked Britney Spears. I'll admit it. I don't have that energy, but I did. And I'm like singing Britney Spears into a fan, and it makes that warble sound. I was like, man, how cool to be a pop star. But unrealistic, like not a real dream, just something you fantasize about.
Sure.
That's how I thought about comedy. And then it took me going through a divorce, getting cancer, and a whole bunch of other shit to finally become traumatized enough to actually do comedy. So it took that process.
I know, I didn't know that about you, but that's fantastic because it's kind of like you had a bit of a new lease on life because you're like,
Yeah.
screw it, what do I got to lose? I'm gonna get
Absolutely,
cancer and
man.
get divorced,
Yeah.
like a divorce check done. So
I've already gone through a lot of horrible shit.
Yeah, no,
bombing
but-
on stage is not the worst thing that could happen to
exactly.
me. You know?
No, that's
Yeah.
actually kind of inspirational. So I like it. Yeah.
I'm just trying to make lemonade out here, man.
Yeah.
My marriage is really happy. And I'm married again. My marriage is happy, and I keep telling my husband is like, you can fuck up every now and then. You know, that's free material for me.
Oh, you got like a good one?
Yeah, I know.
Like my wife's better than me by a mile too. So like, and I use it a lot on stage.
Like I have to become shittier so that the jokes will come.
I do. Like it's a nice. I can contrast how good she is to what a piece of shit I am. It works very well.
Yeah, one of us are gonna
harmonious.
have to hit a low, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, so you said you started in February 2019, and so obviously you went up to an open mic, or you heard about it, or tell us about that.
Well, I'll tell you the whole story here.
Oh,
So I'm like in the most depressed state of mind that I've been in my whole life for several months.
And this is in the Midwest.
This is in Madison, yeah.
Okay.
So I'd moved to Madison for school, and then I dropped out because I'm so responsible. And then I get married to this idiot, and we get divorced. And then I'm living alone, and I'm trying to get laid, and I'm freaked out, and like just not having a good time. And I also recently have had cancer, and I'm just like, ah! And it comes to winter, and during winter, if you've been dating in the fall, you know, you're trying to get yourself a winter fuck buddy because no one wants to go out during the winter, right? You got to secure your fuck buddy. But I had not.
Right.
So I'm like scraping the bottom of the barrel with all the other people who didn't get a winter fuck buddy.
Is this a cricket in the story about not preparing for winter? Like that old kid's tale. It's like this is the real version of it.
Yeah. All the ants are busy getting fuck buddies.
That's what it is. That cricket's just laying around. So,
Don't buy a coat. Get yourself a fuck buddy immediately. By the end of November, you should have someone.
And you steal his hoodie afterwards.
Exactly,
There you
exactly. Two birds with one stone. But yeah, so I got myself some really bad dates. I started dating this like raging alcoholic, and all we do is we go to comedy shows.
sure.
But
Wait,
I'm
do we
low-key-
date? Yeah, wait a second.
We're
Hold
all so drunk we forgot about it. It's good to see you again. No, but we go to these comedy shows, and I'm enjoying the comedy shows way more than I'm enjoying his presence.
Right.
But he's like a security blanket. So eventually we go to this show where a comedian in Madison is there. He crushes, and I'm like, I think this man is really attractive. And so I was like, I want to come to your open mic.
Right.
And I then went the next week. I signed up for the open mic, and I was low-key. I was just like, I'm going to secure that fuck buddy. Anyways, but then I never looked back, and it ended up being more about the comedy than the dick.
How did I was going to say, how did it go first open mic, and did you secure the...
Both of the mics were open. Let me just put it that way.
all right, cool.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Wow. I don't know if we can put that one online. Whatever, it's a secret.
All right. But do you remember like some of your first bits that you did at the open mic?
Yeah, so I'll tell you right now, my very first open mic, I'd been thinking about it for so long that I was like, I'm not going up until I have at least one okay joke.
Okay.
So my first open mic actually goes really well, and I still tell one of those jokes to this day. It's like a little changed. My second open mic was a disaster, but I'll tell you one of these jokes I still tell. So I saw a debate online. The question was, can Michael Jackson say the N-word? Some people are like, Michael Jackson is white, can't say the N-word. Some people are like, he was black, he can. I'm team no, Michael Jackson can't say the N-word. He's dead. And that landed, and I was like, wow! Not a very complex joke. But then I had another part to it, which is, we're not supposed to do this. We're not supposed to, like, here are my bits, but whatever, you guys asked. So the next part of the joke is, I got married to a man. Big surprise, I know. And he told me that I nagged a lot. And I was like, well, if you actually cleaned up after yourself. And I realized, I'm already nagging again. But I realized after a certain amount of time, he was going to get fed up with my shit, come into the bedroom, and just stab me to death repeatedly, like, death to Caesar. And I knew that my last words would be, don't forget to clean the blood off the knife when you're done, honey. So my dying breath, I will be a nagger, which is just another word that Michael Jackson can't say.
Yeah. So it came close. I was like, whoa.
But yeah, that was my first open mic, and I feel like it's an okay joke.
It is actually a good joke. Yeah. Like I thought you were gonna say something like, oh, it didn't really hit, but like I had a good time doing it. But no, I like it. So
thank you. I like it too. But the second open mic, I was so full of myself. I came in, said I knew what what my mom's pussy smelled like, and I also made the sound of my dad orgasming. And the person who went after me at the open mic just went, Jesus fucking Christ. Call your parents now. Anyway, so
best
I
Mother's Day ever.
Right. Hi, Mom.
Yeah. So she's in the audience. Take a whiff. Scratch and sniff.
Take a whiff.
Yeah. So, but now I'm going to sing your praises a little bit. You're not only a stand-up comic, but you're also an actual legit scientist.
Oh, well, I'm a full-time comedian now, so I'm a failed scientist.
You're a failed scientist.
Yeah. But my background is in science.
So I'm kind of curious. So I mean, we'll delve into that in a little bit here. But I'm curious. Like, do you approach things like when you're with your joke writing? Do you use it like a scientific method, like algorithms for doing like step by step, as far as like, oh, what tag should go here because it's been 4 seconds, or anything like that?
You're like, how autistic are you?
Well, no, I'm being very curious.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that question because I do think I approach it with like I try to use a little bit of intuition because jokes feel more natural to people if it's conversational. But I also in the back of my head is I'm thinking of things like, well, this got this many likes on Twitter. It got this many likes within the first hour of being on Reddit. It was written this way. I've traded other ways. I worked at this open mic. I definitely have my Rolodex of information about how jokes do and like metrics, but it's not super explicit.
Okay.
No, but I'm collecting data all the time. I think of it that way.
Can I expand on that? Because I've heard I think Mark Norman said he uses Twitter almost as like an initial sounding board.
Oh yeah,
once
like
in a while.
vetting platform.
Yeah. Do you do the same thing then with Reddit and Twitter?
Totally.
It's just a nice spot to like try something fresh and to see if it's working the way it is in your head.
Yeah, I think so. Twitter, I actually started writing jokes on Twitter maybe in 2014. And when I say writing jokes, it was some of the worst shit you've ever heard. It was things like, they call them soft-shelled turtles because they eat soft-shelled tacos. Just
I don't think that's that bad. Honestly, there's a lot of things I like in there.
maybe I should bring some of this shit back. But I was writing really short jokes like that on Twitter for years. And then I kind of got a big following on Twitter because I was writing really heinous things. and it's called Poop Scruffin' for You. I still use it.
That's your handle?
That's my handle.
Okay.
Yeah. And it used to be a picture of a guy with Down syndrome with no shirt on, and these 2 leather belts crisscrossed across his chest. And he's holding a Beefeater vodka in each hand, and he's got aviators on. He looks totally insane. I love his energy. And that's the guy, and it's on Poop Scruffin' for You at Twitter. And
Well,
I'm
Jacob, maybe
Yeah,
Jake
I'll
can
find
put
it and I'll
the
put it
handle.
up like
So
right here.
this
Oh,
is for
right.
YouTube watchers.
yeah. It's a picture of me pooping on the toilet now. And it used to be this kid with Down syndrome. Now it's a different kid with Down syndrome.
Taking a shit.
yeah, taking a shit, no pants on, the whole spadoinkle.
So, what kind of scientist were you then? What was your specialty?
Yeah, my degree. Well, I just finished my master's degree, which is useless because I don't want to use it. But my bachelor's degree was in neuroscience, and I mostly worked in computer science. So it's like
those don't sound useless. Those sound pretty impressive.
I
but
mean,
like,
if I'm not using it.
you want me to talk about my GED?
Your GED.
Yeah.
It sounds like you didn't really get it, man.
I
It's pronounced GD.
don't know how to, I spelled it with a J.
So I studied neuroscience, but I was doing the programming was a more useful skill.
Sure.
So then I kind of was doing data science stuff after that. So it's like, measuring the genes that create your brain, different hormone levels,
Sure.
or like how different systems in your brain map to each other. So
Well,
that's the stuff I found really interesting.
Like when you were doing that, did you figure out like with as far as like the brain? You said the brain what? Like mapping
Oh yeah, like mapping different areas
and
to
like
each
hormones.
other.
Have you figured out how to make a hormone?
How to make a hormone? I've been doing that since the day I was born, baby.
Hell yeah.
Way too much of one of them. Got a
Thank
thicker
you.
beard than I do.
So I had I guess a follow-up question on that. There was a quote. I don't even remember where I had heard it, but I think it's comedy is intelligence playing.
Ooh.
And so I was wondering, like,
Wow, I should be so much funnier.
no, and I guess like, do you think? I guess the best way to say, actually with the brain mapping thing, they always say comedy is like the best medicine, stuff like that too. Like, do you think there's actual tangible proof of like a happier brain, like experiencing it? It's such a strange thing to try to define funny, but
yeah. Well, here's the thing: like people think emotions are so unmeasurable. I'll tell you a fun piece of trivia. When you cry, for example, at the end of White Chicks, because you're so overwhelmed by what a happy ending it was.
I was sad it was over.
Exactly.
Like,
Can never
was
see
sad
it
they
for
were
the
doing
first time
whiteface.
again. I've got wet face. You're crying at the end of White Chicks because you're so overwhelmed with emotion. Those tears that come out of your eyes, they will have more hormones and things in them that are like, you can measure the feelings that are coming out of your eye. Whereas if you stub your toe, that's just like regular salty tears. There's not really much in the way of hormones.
I've never heard that, and that's super interesting. Let me ask you this: is there, because obviously I feel like we're always picking up on pheromones and whatnot in different scents. Can we smell that? Like, I mean, can
smell sadness?
Well, yeah. Is that like because there is like the
I don't know.
Oh, he's saying yes.
Glenn's over there. Yeah. Oh, I could smell sadness
on all of you right now.
Yeah. And
Pathetic bitches.
Yeah. Normally it's called BO.
Yeah.
But wait, actually, to back up, so you're saying if you were to measure actual pain tears versus sadness tears,
Emotional
there would be
tears.
a difference under the microscope, essentially.
Well, yeah, like a difference in the concentration of certain things in the water.
Okay.
And so, like, by that token, when you say, oh, like, does a happy brain do stuff? Well, we can't measure happiness. Yeah, you can. You can. There's other ways to do it. Like, you can look at the electrophysiology of the brain. But ultimately, like, if you're happier, you generally live longer. And if you're laughing a lot, you're also getting more oxygen into your body, and it's keeping your brain healthier.
I will be immortal.
Yes.
I laugh
you just keep giggling.
I'm like a baby. I laugh at jingling keys. Like, I laugh at everything.
That's the fucking secret to success in life, man.
That's like Adam saw that meme where it's like masturbation makes you live longer. It's just like me in the year 3000 just floating on the ground. Like,
I'm with Bill and Ted doing the air guitar. And a callback to air guitar.
I feel like that's one of those scientific studies that it's like, scientists have proven that masturbation makes you live longer. Said a bunch of fucking wankers.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No, what are you trying to sell right now?
What would you say, because you are a scientist, and even if you're, not practicing right now, right? But what, because obviously I would assume you have to kind of, I don't want to say dumb down jokes, but what are some jokes that you feel you really like, but might be a little bit too intelligent for some people to get?
Dude, people are really stupid. So I have to dumb down dumb jokes.
Okay.
Let me tell I'm not saying that to be disrespectful, because I'm also a massive idiot a lot, but I found that there's certain jokes that work online and then in text and they don't work in person. So I don't always know if a joke is too smart or if it's just too twittery and not stand-up-y.
Sure.
So here's what I like to tell. It's not that fucking smart, but it's I can't read or count. I'm what they call a triple threat, baby. It's stupid. It's
like
stupid.
it.
But I feel like when people just, give me a nothing look, I'm like, can they count to 3? Like, I'm a little worried about this audience. But I have some jokes that I would want to tell in a place like Madison. Like I have a joke about ejaculating faster than the speed of sound. You won't hear me coming. That's a physics joke. But if you don't know about the speed of sound, you're not gonna like that joke.
I mean, I'd like to say that I probably do it at the speed of light because before the light switch hits off, I'm already, I pre my pants.
I'm scared of the dark.
Yeah,
the fear boner came immediately.
Oh yeah. So now, what's a joke, because you are a data scientist, what's a joke that you would tell them that you wouldn't tell somebody, that you wouldn't tell us plebes?
Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you a joke that I saw in a slide that was like presented to people getting a degree in data science. And they're like, when you do a logistic regression for free, it's just called statistics. But if you have a 6-figure salary and you just get to call it machine learning. It's like so stupid. It's
I don't get it.
Hopefully at least
it's above
one
my pay grade.
Like 6 figures. Wow.
That's the we were talking about Simpson stuff earlier, but remember the RDRR, Bart.
Exactly.
There you go.
That's solving the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I've heard that you have driven around with a human brain in your trunk.
Oh yeah.
Can you please tell us a little bit more about that? I mean, is this
had to have that in my bio.
Was this a hobby?
It's a hobby. Yeah.
Is it
I won't say whose
work-related?
brains they were.
Yeah.
No, so when I was in grad school in Madison before I dropped out, I volunteered with this like outreach thing. So we're like doing science education stuff at fairs.
Sure.
So I don't know if you guys know AJ Grill. He used to do this with lizards. He was the lizard guy. I was the brain girl.
Okay.
So I was the bitch who brought the brains, and kids can look at them, and then their parents can be like, hold the brain, we'll take a picture. And so then I'd be doing things like pointing out the different parts of the brain. My favorite thing is with little kids, there's the cerebrum is just like the big part of your brain, and there's like kind of the small brain underneath it. The cerebellum just literally means little brain. And so when I ask little kids, where do you think the front and the back of the brain are? They will sort of think about it. Maybe they'll get it right. And if they're pondering it for too long, I'd be like, it's the side with 2 butts, because it does look like 2 butts.
Yeah,
it's like double the butt. That's got to be the back.
Yeah.
True.
So I get to do like some dumb jokes for little kids about butts. But
I
I'm
mean-
basically just showing brains to people, and it smelled terrible. Let me tell you.
These were
I'm
out of
assuming,
these were
like-
out of the jar. You took them out.
This
like
is like
they
in
just-
this big fucking bucket of like formaldehyde water.
And then they just pull it out.
Yep.
So I actually, a couple of things. I mean, I went to the I took an anatomy and physiology class, and they took us to the cadaver lab, and so up in Madison, I believe, and so we got to mess around with a lot of that stuff, and it was pretty intense.
Get to mess around with the cadavers.
Well, when the lights were off,
You had to pay a
at the
guy.
speed of light. Am I right? But anyway,
Bring a hot plate.
yeah, yeah. But no, but here's my humble brag. I've actually gotten to see Albert Einstein's brain.
Oh, nice. Did it
went-
look smart?
It looks smarter than mine. But no, it was at the Muter Museum.
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming you've heard of that
Yeah.
in Philadelphia, and so, but I absolutely love that museum. I've been there a couple of times, and one time, or they had, it's like in slides. You can't eat it.
I just
or
remember
anything.
the 200-pound colon they have there. I was fascinated by that thing.
200 pounds?
Yeah, it was.
Is it so full of shit?
That must
It
be.
was impacted.
A lot of poop.
Yeah.
I was like, I just couldn't
it
walk
looks like
away
it blown
from
up
this
like a
thing.
balloon.
Yeah. It looked like a full anaconda. It was horrific.
Yeah.
Like it ate somebody
Yeah.
else's full colon is what it looks
Right,
like. Yeah.
right.
No, I don't know if you know the story behind Einstein and the brain.
I don't know the full story. I
So-
know what's different about his brain.
Well, I was
From
gonna
an
say
average one or whatever.
the person who was doing the autopsy stole his brain.
What the fuck?
Yeah. so they stole his brain.
It's a Nicolas Cage movie. If I've ever heard one.
It's
a pretty smart move.
Oh.
Takes a lot of brains to pull something like that off. So anyway, but he stole the brain and like didn't give it back for many, many years.
Yeah.
To the point to where I believe it was just like sitting in like next to his beer cooler for a while.
Yeah,
You know,
it was
like
He ransomed Einstein.
essentially, but like
He just talked to it.
well, because Einstein, his last like words, or not last words, but his last request was that he wanted to be cremated, so no one would try to like worship his bones, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, so like so his family did a secret. Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
I'm
He
gonna
said
say
to
that too. I'm
Yeah.
just like, hey guys, don't worship me.
Like,
I know you want to. Like,
what's your name
cremate me
again?
so you can't. But actually, I had a follow-up for that because you have a knowledge of brains, and we are from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And if you had found that Dahmer documentary, they said at the end they wouldn't allow Dahmer's brain to be examined. So I was wondering, with your knowledge, could you hypothesize what might have been different about his brain? And if there is a difference, would you, again, find any similarities between what you think comics brains?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, sure. Okay.
But also, I'll tell you, like, Wisconsin is known for having a lot of serial killers. Well, just the Midwest at large.
It's cold here. You know,
It's
we
cold.
can't. We need a winter friend.
No fuck buddy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you don't get a fuck buddy, you got to make one.
Or a suit.
So we have, I think, one of the top psychopathy research centers in the world, maybe because we just had such a high supply of candidates to study. And Jeffrey Dahmer, there's two things going on with him. Well, three things, a lot going on. He's a necrophile. He's really smart. He's probably a little bit autistic, and he's also gay. And I tell you, there doesn't have to be any association with being gay and being a murderer, but in his case, he was both. And I can tell you that gay men's brains are different from straight men's brains.
Really?
You heard it here first. I'm
Yeah.
interested. Why? What's
There's
different
just a-
about my brain?
There's a
Hey, don't scan my
Finally, the
brain. My
explanation.
girlfriend's here.
yeah, there's like a groove that's found in women's brains in a certain region that's
It's a
not found
dick-loving
in. It's the dick-loving groove. That's where the dick goes. Actually,
You get hit by a frisbee, you're like, oh no.
but yeah, that like tiny change basically changes your sexuality.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, but
I've
it's not
never
as-
heard this
It's
before.
not the same with women though. Women are a little weirder about how you measure their sexuality. Honestly,
So, but now to get this correct, there's a groove in a woman's brain that matches with
with
like
gay men's brains.
Really?
Yeah.
wow.
And I can't tell you more information than that. People are like, what does it do? And it's like, it makes you gay, apparently. But how? I don't know.
Is that why I got a wink when I did an MRI from that guy?
It's like, I see
Oh,
you.
all right.
Game recognized game.
Yeah.
Right on.
No,
But yeah,
that
so
is-
I don't know what the necrophilia brain trait is. Poor guy. So he had like a bunch of fucked up things happen to him as a kid. And there's like stuff that you're born with. And there's a lot of evidence that you're just born gay. It's not a choice. But with things like being a necrophile, there's usually some weird life event that fucks you up. And it seems like he had this bad relationship with his parents. And he's going off in the woods and like killing animals and putting them in jars to cope. And that's not a great coping mechanism.
Yeah.
And now he's just like obsessed with dead things as a source of comfort. So I don't know.
Sure.
I'm like psychoanalyzing this
No,
man I've
no,
never
I
talked to.
it's super interesting. So no,
He's a fascinating person, right? But he was my favorite serial killer back in the when you had to have a favorite serial killer days. Did you guys not have that?
no, we
phase?
had that, but I mean,
Yeah.
you didn't mind him because he wasn't a threat to you.
That's true.
That's what I mean. I hate,
Alive and a
yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
I hate when
So
women
not
are
scary.
like, he was so creepy. He wasn't into you.
Yeah.
He was a buck hunter. I don't know. So, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
That's funny. No, thank you for saying that. I'm definitely gonna like nerd out on that. And
Oh,
look
hell
into
yeah.
into the brain scans. Now, Jake, going back to you being a
I
data
call
scientist.
you Groovy from now on.
Oh no. But Jake, we're gonna go into some stats here because Jake does like to at the end of each year he likes to read off the Pornhub searches stats.
It's so fascinating.
it's really
fun.
interesting.
I've done this
You
before.
do the same thing?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
nerd
Okay,
out so bad.
Okay, so
You
you're
can
gonna
come up with joke premises on
You do.
that. You
yeah,
know?
no, and we've joked about it a lot. And Tori will be like, "What do you think North Carolina's top search was?" And we're like, sex doll
don't
or
remember.
things like that, right?
It's
But
got to be like the most conservative states have like the highest rates of
You'd
looking
be
for
su- I was
trans
gonna
stuff and gay
it-
stuff.
Do you remember
it's
what?
some weird?
Do you remember what
things.
Wisconsin's was?
Isn't it boobs? Aren't we just like the
Yeah.
dairy state all the way?
It was pegging. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I think the city swung the state on this one. Like,
That I forgot about that, and it is horrific. So just the idea. It's like no disrespect, do whatever you want, but what a nightmare.
I think like Oregon's was like Fleshlight or something like that,
Really?
where you're just like, what?
You're looking for videos of people having sex with a fleshlight?
yeah, I don't. I mean,
Fascinating.
at least
It's Pornhub. I
I don't know.
like,
The
Yeah.
first-
yeah.
I think LA was foot stuff.
was it?
Yeah.
Man, I just don't get why. I think I cringe more at foot stuff than pegging, but pegging's awful to me. So it's like
Pegging is at least like overtly sexual.
I have a lot of
Yeah, it's
follow-up
like a-
questions like, why LA? Why foot stuff? Is it because you like you don't make eye contact with anyone, so you're just like, look at those feet?
Yeah.
It's just like on the bus.
I have to ask you this. Speaking of brain things, I've heard that, and I haven't validated this, but something about sexuality or whatever is like close to like foot stimulation in your brain or something.
That's
Have you
another
heard
groove.
that?
This is a
Have you
second
heard-
groove.
Yeah,
You got
that's
the horny foot groove.
Yeah. No, I heard somebody break that down one time. It was probably some
I
bullshit.
think I had heard, and this is just hearsay, but it was in utero. basically when you're forming,
You suck your toes.
hands, well, essentially feet were in contact with genitals and hands were in contact with face. And I know when people lose their arm, they've had success with if you have a ghost, itch in the hand, scratching the face, there's something to do with the formation of the nerves.
Oh, sure.
Would have a connection, and so they think potentially feet, genitals would have a connection as well. That's what I had heard. Sounds right. I don't know.
Man, I just you're making me think of like getting your
I don't know,
first boner inside your mom.
The problem with like a foot is like a feet are great as far as like they have a ceiling. There's no floor on how awful a foot can get. Like, I'm stoked when a foot looks how it's supposed to.
Yeah.
But there's never like, wow, I'm sexually turned on by that foot. I'm just happy it's not
What
down
if it
there.
had boobs?
That'd be
You
into it,
put
sure,
boobs
yeah.
on a foot. Like, I'm a boob guy.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
foot's got boobs.
Foot titties.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's actually the name of the band I was in 7th grade.
Sounds amazing.
Foot titties. Yeah.
Foot titties.
Yeah.
Here's my thought on that. I don't have like expertise on foot neuroscience and like sexual foot neuroscience, but my thinking is that any place in your body where you have more nerve endings has the potential to be more sensitized. So like the tips of your fingers, your lips, the sides of your neck, nipples, obviously genitals,
Sure.
and your feet, they're very sensitive. So anything that can like play with the nerve endings in more interesting ways can potentially turn sexual. That's my thought.
Okay.
Like hand holding can be really neutral. Or if you start like rubbing someone's hand, you'd be like, oh, this is kind of
Yeah.
sexual,
Hand holding seems way more intimate.
It's like
just-
beyond fifth base.
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah,
I
just-
just invented a sixth base, apparently.
And
I
then
don't know
a
anything
Chris-
about baseball, guys.
Like, honestly, would you hold a hooker's hand?
Didn't Chris Rock?
Ew.
Chris
pay
Rock
for
just
this.
ran that bit.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
like, I might lick some of his asshole tonight, but I'm not holding some bitch's hand.
It's true intimacy. It's
Oh, yeah.
All right, so sorry. And going back to the stats. Oh, man. What's the most bizarre collection of statistics that you've ever compiled? Like, whether if it's like, let's say, I don't know, some dissertation or something or whatever.
So I did collect statistics one time, not for school or work.
Okay.
I was just curious about something.
Man, you are a nerd.
I know. I just want to learn things. Life is short, man. Learn weird shit about cats. But I wanted to do this project called sexistics instead of statistics to figure out what relationships are there between people's personality and what they're like in the bedroom. Because I had heard a lot of people, especially like some of my lady friends, were like, I'm really bossy at work. And that's why I like to just let go of all my control and be totally dominated in the bedroom. And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like if you're a boss at work, you have to be bossy because that's your job. Like you're being paid to do that. I think you probably would like to just give up control all the time if you could and you didn't need a job. I'm not saying this to people's faces. I'm just like, interesting. Let's find the data on that. So I go to the worst place on earth to collect data, Reddit, and I go to the subreddit called Sample Size, where people will just be like, yeah, I'll do your survey. And my survey is collecting a bunch of things about personality and then like sexual preferences. And there's, if you guys want to do this online,
And
there's-
groove size in your brain.
and which grooves you have. Please bring your entire electronic medical record,
yeah.
I kind of feel like you should ask the partner to where they'd be like, she's bossy as shit in the bedroom. she's like, I'm giving up control now. Fuck me.
The power bottom.
Doing it wrong.
Oh my God, there's this great movie called, this is sort of a side note, but I think it's like The Duke of Burgundy or something. And it's a movie where you think this woman is in like a horrible relationship where she's being told what to do by this other lady. But then it turns out that lady is actually following orders from the sub, who's the one who's being really bossy. It's
So
kind of a
sub's
mind
actually
fuck.
the dom?
Yeah, the sub's the one calling the shots. Let's just put it that way.
Huh.
So when the dom doesn't fulfill her needs, she like feels really bad about it. She's like, "I'm sorry I didn't top you hard enough, honey. I'll try harder next time."
I like missionary. I don't know, is this almost like when people pretend to be different people in the bedroom, just as a way of like freeing it up? Because
sure.
You might be buttoned down, but if you just take on a persona of someone different, they can throw a thumb in the butthole.
Oh, for sure.
And then you get mad, be like, "Well, that wasn't me. That was Richter from Missouri." I don't know.
Well, he's not invited back.
Yeah. Well, he left. So.
Everything was sticky last time he was here.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the guy who's really good at bed stuff.
Yeah.
You're
This is,
overacting.
it's kind of like when you become your true self when you put on a mask. That
Yeah.
kind of idea. Is that like every Marvel movie? I didn't become myself until I put on the mask, or some shit like that.
I've never tried. I don't think I should put on a mask just in case it goes really bad. I'm like, oh, I'm an asshole. So,
I didn't know I actually liked foot stuff.
I'm quitting the podcast, Jake. If Lindsay tells me,
listen, this is how I get my groove back.
Stella.
Yeah.
Emperor's New Groove.
Emperor's New Groove is a porn that no one will get.
Who's gonna fuck this llama in the
Yeah.
ass?
Yeah.
Is
I
it
like
John
the,
Goodman?
I like the Emperor's New Clothes. Yeah.
Give that
There you
llama
go.
llama ding dong. Yeah. Right. So, Sorry, I didn't mean. Oh my God. Okay, so what's a joke that works well in some places but not in other places?
Oh, yeah, this is a great question. So I had some learning experiences when I was just a baby comic. Now I'm a walking, talking toddler. But I'm doing these abortion jokes in Madison, and I'm getting spoiled because they're just like, we love it, kill them.
Yeah.
We got you, says slay the babies. And I'm like, sweet. I'm getting so much validation from my views on abortion in Madison. And then I go to Milwaukee, the Laughing Tap. I'm hosting a weekend there, and I'm kind of on autopilot with my material for Madison. And this room is 80% people who are there for a man's 60th birthday. And I have not yet developed the skill where I'm like, old people don't like the same thing as young people. Change your material, idiot.
Yeah.
So instead, I just walk up and I'm like, what's up, olds? You guys like abortion? And
Is that a quote?
Oh, very close, very close. And then this woman in the front, there's dead silence, with the exception of this woman who's just like, no. And I was like, oh my God, I'm taking such a hard bullet up top. I got to switch to alcoholism and Green Bay Packers. And that worked. So I was like, yeah, there's obviously political lines where certain jokes just make people upset. Different religions and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely change my material if I'm in more rural Wisconsin versus different parts of Milwaukee, Madison, Chicago. I think my favorite place to perform, though, is Madison.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's like also fucking Comedy State. Comedy on State has a very giving crowd, and they love the liberal shit. You see my haircut, you know what my politics are, okay? But it's a little crunchier there. But I think Chicago has a nice mix of people who are like tourists from out of town, and then locals, and so you have to try to please a crowd that's really complex, and that's an interesting challenge.
I was going to ask like a follow-up with if you're in rural Wisconsin and it is more difficult, and you do successfully like tailor your joke, does that feel like skillful?
Oh, that feels great.
Yeah.
No, I actually really like doing that. I'm still trying to hone that skill.
Mm-hmm.
Like, rural crowds are super fun because if they are drunk and horny, we're going to have a great time.
Yeah, they want to have a good time. It's like they're not
Rural
there
Wisconsin.
making sure.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's like a crowd that doesn't want you to curse and is maybe super religious. They are going to hate my ass, and I barely have any material for them.
Actually, I was going to ask, have you ever had to do like an audible, like as you see like an opener, like hitting things that are like on par with yours, and like,
oh yeah,
that is not hitting, so don't bring up fucking grandma.
I do try to do that where I'll watch the sets before me if I'm if I have the opportunity to, and if certain things are not landing. Like, I've done a thing where I was in a show where it's Chicago, and normally storyteller comics tend to do really well in Chicago, but this show, for whatever reason, there are people going up being super charismatic, but they're not doing like traditional joke structure, and it's just not landing. And then this guy from Boston goes up and he's just like one-liner, and it's destroying. And while I'm watching this, I was like, oh shit, I was gonna do more story stuff because that's normally what works here. So I changed my set and then did mostly one-liners, and it was a good time.
You killed?
Yeah, it went well,
Nice.
but I don't know if it killed, but I was like, thank God I saw that, because otherwise I would have just been riding on what I saw before,
Sure. That's great, and it's probably nice to have like such a wealth of like backstock things that you can pull out.
Yeah. When you just have 10 minutes, like that's the 10 minutes you do everywhere. If you have 20 minutes, you can like diversify it a little.
Yeah. With something like that, do you find yourself almost like going into the crowd to try to do crowd work, if maybe just to feel it out a little bit more, like just to kind of get them back into it in case?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, and some crowds don't want to talk to you, so you're either going to have to force them to, or just accept that you'll have to make fun of yourself until they loosen up a little bit.
Okay, so besides the woman saying no, we don't like abortion, what would you say like some of the what's the weirdest heckle you'd say you've ever received, and how did you respond?
Heckle.
I mean, it can even be a good thing.
I think heckling is such a broad term. There are times that people describe something as heckling, and I'm like, that's not heckling, that's just talking.
Yeah.
I think of heckling as like somebody saying, you suck, or I can do comedy better than you. Like, they're being actively negative, whereas there sometimes people are like, I want to have a full-ass conversation with you in the middle of your set. And so I one time had this guy who just kept talking, and he clearly thought this was a conversation, but I'm hosting and I don't want to be like too confrontational with him. But I have this one joke at one point where I was just like, men should be neither seen nor heard, which is something that guy could stand to learn. And like the audience like went crazy for that.
Yeah.
And he sort of shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Right.
But it wasn't heckling before that. He just kept like answering the things I was saying by repeating the punchlines and then going on. And I was like, we don't need to hear this, but I also don't want to be too antagonistic.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
is he falling into like the he thought he was helping kind of
Absolutely,
category?
yeah.
Like,
Drunk white woman behavior, honestly. I'm helping.
Yeah.
It's a comedy show.
Yeah, exactly. I like anytime I hear somebody answering back to the comic, I'm like, would you shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
I fucking hate you right now.
I always just think like, who does this?
Yeah.
Is this one of those people that doesn't have the pictures or the voice in their head. They don't like have awareness or something
I
like
think
that.
that's what it is.
I was at a comedy show a couple weeks ago to where the comic, like, there was just a group of people that were just being obnoxious, and they kept like answering back on like everything else and this and that, and to the point to where like the guy who was hosting a few times he's like, have you been to a comedy show?
Yeah.
Like,
Do you know where you are right now?
Yeah,
What this is?
exactly. Like,
If you're at a concert, do you go up there and just grab a guitar? Just like, oh, I'm helping. You're like,
Yeah.
so like,
I
that's
think
a
I've heard that
duet.
joke
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
just air guitar.
I think people don't realize how loud they're being. I have this problem. Sometimes we're like, Sasha, you need to shut the fuck up because you are like speaking loudly in a show. And I was like, oh, I thought I was whispering, but I'm screaming at the top of my lungs.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I think sometimes it's often like a group of 4 girls. They sit in the front row and they're just fucking talking to each other, not even listening to the show. So one time I stopped what I was saying and just like paused and stared at them, and they did not stop talking. They don't realize that's how unaware they are of what's going on. So eventually I was like, so what are you guys talking about? I want to call attention to the fact you guys are the only ones talking right now. Like, so what are you
Should have
talking
hit him
about?
with that soft shell taco.
You guys want to hear a joke? This is the comedy show, by the way. But yeah, that was fun. That was fun. I saw what's his face, Zach O'Ryan. He's a great comic from Chicago.
Yep.
Yeah, fucking hilarious. He kind of did this takedown where I think it's a bachelorette party, and they won't shut the fuck up. So he eventually just goes like, "Hey, you guys realize you're at a comedy show, right? Like you came here. Who got dumped? Like who got dumped?" And they're like, "Oh my god." Well, you said you're gonna go out and ask yourselves who was headlining. We are, like that's the line.
Oh my
They
god.
think they're headlining and they don't realize that people can hear them. So,
I love them. They're awesome.
I hate them. I hate them.
Great.
I want to murder them
I do
and their
too.
babies.
yes.
It's like, suddenly I'm into abortion. Very late
Even
term.
more so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 137th trimester.
Yeah.
Abortion happening right now. Okay,
That's
so
only in the Netherlands, man.
now I want to bring this up. Now, if I were to create like a Venn diagram, maybe Jay can like automate one or animate one rather.
Sure.
But like if I were to
I'll
have like
computer
a
it.
computer it.
Yeah.
But if I had like a Venn diagram where like the data sets being like one, performing creative comedian, and then the other being like crunchy mathematical rhythmic patterns.
Ooh.
I feel like the overlapping section in the middle would be composer of instrumental music.
Yeah. Why do you ask that?
Well,
Yeah.
funny you should ask, because now I did see on your profile that you are a composer,
Yeah.
and I had Jake. We were like, hey, let's
Yep.
check this stuff out. And all day today, I'm not kidding you, we were listening to your music, and I really dig it.
It's great concentration music. I loved
Yeah.
it. Like,
Awesome.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I was
Yeah.
describing it like it's like the soundtrack for Ex Machina
Yeah.
or I forgot but basically it's great focused concentration music. Which is,
Shoegazer kind of music.
Exactly, yeah.
Or it's something you could dissect somebody's body to.
Yeah, definitely.
Or,
yeah.
check
or
grooves in a brain out. Too. It's very-
This is our recurring
Yeah.
thing for the day.
yeah. Or honestly, like it's just like nice concentration music to where like you're not hearing somebody like scream into it. I love instrumental music, so I'm truly a fan. So
Nice.
I
Thank
want
you,
you
man.
to talk about that.
Oh, for sure. I actually started college as a music composition major.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
I yeah, that's kind of
like
where I
why
got
not?
it.
Why not be
Like-
scientist, comic, composer, like everything? Like just yeah.
You don't get to win at everything,
Yeah.
Sasha.
Hey, I failed at most of these things. I just lost Madison's funniest comics. So I'm not succeeding at everything.
I think loss is the very
Yeah,
wrong
if
term
you
for that.
You make it the top 5.
I
Yeah.
sure did, but I still want to like be introduced as 2-time loser of Madison's funniest comic. Get ready.
The B team.
Oh yeah, the B- team. I've been playing piano since I was like 5 years old, and I was never very good at it. So when I was fucking up music, I would sometimes make mistakes where I was like, "Ooh, I kind of like that better than what I was supposed to play."
Like Bob Ross.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
happy little accident.
Happy little black keys.
Exactly. And so I kind of got into composing through that. And I love video game music. I grew up playing Zelda, and I was very interested in the musical component of that game. And I have a lot of chiptunesy stuff, video gamey sounding stuff that I've made. And like the Stranger Things soundtrack.
Yeah.
Like I like those old synth 80s sounds. I love Nine Inch Nails. So I have like
Yep.
industrial in there, chip tunes, sometimes like trip hop. But I think of it as like angsty robot music.
Well, I was gonna say, like, speaking of robot, do you want to tell me your performing handle?
Oh yeah. So Sasha's a nickname for Alexander or Alexandra. So I took Alexandra, cut off the first part, went Exandroid to kind of make it sound a little sci-fi. So that's
Okay.
Yeah.
where that
I
comes
was
from.
going to ask about that because I saw the name earlier too, so that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And you said it's what is it? Sasha, short for Alexandra, and
Yeah.
your Russian.
Yeah.
Too. Is that
Nice segue. Yeah, no, I'm half Russian. I was born in Virginia, but my mom was born in Moscow, and I grew up speaking Russian with my babushka. And
Stop saying all these impressive things.
Babushka.
I played
That's
piano since I was 5. I speak Russian. I compose music. Top 5 Madison. Like, oh yeah, cool.
Did I just tell you I got a master's degree?
It took me 30 minutes to get my dog out of a baseball net earlier today.
Hey, I have every single time I've microwaved something and not known how long to put it into the microwave, I've thrown away the instructions and then had to take them out of the trash.
That's me.
I
with
was a
every
little
pizza.
overzealous. Yeah.
So we all have our shortcomings.
That's fair. That's fine.
No, I think maybe you should.
I'll put listeners, if you're listening, you won't see this, but YouTube, you'll be drowned out by basically social media tags and accomplishments for a few seconds here.
Yeah.
Put
None
on
of
my
them are
resume.
ours, just hers.
I don't know if people want to come see a comedian more if they have like more degrees. I feel like that's off-putting. Like, what do you think you're better than me? Like, no, my parents wanted me to go to grad school. It's just, I did it for them.
Yes, I'm better than you, but that's okay.
Well, okay. So speaking of like performances and whatnot, what would you say your most memorable performance is so far? Whether if it is, I don't know if you perform with your music or if you just create it and then, or is it comedy? Like can you tell us anything about that?
I
Good
don't
or
perform
bad?
music. Yeah, I don't. I only make it on the computer, and I do it in the most autistic way. I'm not like playing on a real instrument. I am literally placing notes by hand.
Yeah,
That's okay.
It gets the job done. I like
sounds
doing
great.
it. It's soothing. But I don't really have a way to play it live, and I feel like if I did, I would just be pressing a space bar and being like, I'm a DJ.
That's pretty big now. Though.
I know, that's a popular thing
yeah.
to do, but I'd want to be a little bit more of a performer if I did that. And I'm just too lazy. So when I started doing comedy, I realized I am like very scripted about comedy. I'm very improvisational about music. So I have like different approaches to both. But I definitely like doing comedy live way, way more. And I had my favorite experience recently on December, I guess it was like 30th, New Year's Eve. And I'd had a dream for a long time. The first time I saw a burlesque show was in Chicago. And it's like on Christmas and all of these sexy Santas popping out of their own bags and shit. It's very hot. But the person who's hosting the show is not a burlesque dancer. She's this red-haired, gigantic lesbian with a steel plate on her crotch.
That's my Santa.
Yeah, right? Merry Christmas. Yeah. She's also Jewish, which is perfect. That's why she's working on Christmas. She's pressing power tools into this metal plate on her crotch and sending sparks off. Yeah. And then she's also telling jokes. She's hilarious. She's compelling. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to be this woman. And not only is she telling jokes, but she's doing it in between like tasteful stripping. And so this was kind of a dream I'd had for a while. I'd been doing stand-up comedy, but it's like you're in a lineup with other comics. And last year, Crucible Nightclub, which is a place I work with in Madison, asked me to host their New Year's Eve bonanza. And it's like 20 performers. There's going to be setup in between some of the acts because there's like aerial burlesque where they're hanging from the ceiling while they take off their clothes. There's musical numbers. So I have to do time in between each act and kind of be organic and flexible. And it was like one of the biggest crowds I've ever performed for. I still get recognized around Madison for it. And it's just it went really well. And I got to flex like doing some time up top, but then throughout the rest of the show. And it just felt really good to accomplish that. And also see like a lot of titties because there was a great night. Great night. I had a great time.
That sounds awesome.
No, I have seen something similar to that because Jake and I are, being in the tattoo industry, we've gone to, they'll have like interesting sideshow acts at like sword swallowing and stuff like that. But we've also seen people doing the, with the grinder under crotch. And
Yeah.
I'm
like
you have my
suspension
attention.
hooks and all that too.
That's
So it's
hardcore.
all it's fun.
I actually went to a show one time where a guy, his deal is he gets a free tattoo if he tells jokes for 20 minutes while it's going on. And this was in a show in DeKalb, Illinois. My favorite thing about this show is, they're all dressing up like they're in Mad Max, and then they have their tattoos out and shit to advertise the tattoo parlor. But also there were two guys there who had just met, and one of them's like, I've got nunchucks in the back of my truck. And the other guy was like, I also have nunchucks in the back of my truck.
We have to
like,
fight.
Can we just become best friends?
Yeah.
They both took their nunchucks out and were just like doing tricks.
You have to call
in
me
the parking lot.
Nighthawk.
Yeah. Like, who's your favorite Ninja Turtle? It's pretty obvious. So I was going to say, I know you actually have to leave now to get to do a show in Milwaukee.
Yes.
So I wanted to say real quick, did you have like any biggest like comedy influences that you can think of off the top of your head?
Oh, for sure. Lisa Lampanelli is one.
Yeah.
Lewis Black was one of the first comics I got really into, not necessarily influencing my comedy, but just someone I looked up to and I thought was really funny. Anthony Jeselnik, probably the biggest
Oh, yeah.
influence.
Yeah.
He's so
I
great.
have to say Louis, because he's a
Yep.
comedian I consumed a lot of, and he was so disgusting. And I was like, oh, you can become very popular just being like, farts, cum, dicks.
Yeah.
It's very much my brand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I appreciated that he definitely made it seem feasible to be super gross and also successful. And I don't know, those are like the big ones.
Sure. Do you have any like I guess parting words for anyone thinking about trying it, or any like
Sure.
the best way to like get into
Don't.
it? Yeah. It's like,
It's hell. No, I love doing comedy. I think the advice I like to give people who are thinking about trying comedy is don't rush into it. A lot of people are like, people have told me I'm funny, and then they go up to an open mic, and then they have a bad time, and then they're just like, well, they just don't get me. And it's like, you need to consume some comedy at open mics to realize like what lands, who are the people in the scene, what shows are there, what things that can you do to be a part of the scene and understand more about a local comedy environment, because like local comedy is so different from club scenes and also different from what you see on Netflix. So I feel like when I post on Reddit, sometimes people like my jokes and they'll be like, we're looking forward to seeing you on Netflix and SNL. And I'm like, that's so far away from where I am.
Yeah.
But they're like, Reddit, Netflix. Those are the two places comedy happens. So whatever. But I think in local scenes, it's like, know your mics, go to them a bunch of times before you actually go up, figure out what works, and then do your first open mic. Take your time, and don't rush into it. Yeah, be patient. People start being like, when can I headline a show? I've got 30 minutes. Like, you started comedy 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear you ramble for 30 minutes. I don't want to hear most professional comedians ramble for 30 minutes. So anyways.
No, I appreciate you saying that. And actually, we even heard we've had other comedians on that have also said like, be patient. Like write. So, and so,
right, try it out. Just work it out. Don't just like you said, don't run in there and think you're gonna headline right away. I mean, I think you should, because I love watching that. It's like I love the cringe.
I
I'm
love
like,
Kill Tony.
oh, God. Yeah.
So so I appreciate you saying the same thing, being as seasoned as you are, having done this for 4 years now.
Yeah,
a little over 4 years. So that's great. Do you want to tell listeners how they can find you? You want to tell them all your socials?
Oh, sure. All my socials. So if you want to listen to my music, it's on SoundCloud or Bandcamp. You can just look up Exandroid. It's also on Spotify and YouTube. And if you just look up Sasha Rosser on Instagram, YouTube, I'm basically the only Sasha Rosser. And then it's Poop Scruffin' for you. That's the letter 4 and the letter 4. I'm so smart. The number 4 and the letter U and Poop Scruffin', no G. Poop Scruffin' apostrophe, right? And that's on Twitter and Reddit.
Perfect.
And I also have a Sasha Rosser Twitter, but the Poop Scruffin' is the real me.
That's
awesome.
Yeah.
That's the real
SASHAROSSER.
You got it.
So.
All right, well,
.com.
hey, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. I'm a handshaker. I don't know.
Thank you very much. I
Appreciate
wasn't,
it.
but I am now, I guess.
Yeah.
So now, listeners, you can go and see Sasha at the Comedy Cabin May 25th here in Janesville, Wisconsin. So you can get your tickets at cabinlaughs.com. You can see her headline May 25th.
Yeah.
May 25th at the Comedy Cabin.
When?
May 25th, I believe.
Okay.
All right.
That's this month.
All right. Later, boners.
Thank you, guys.
You met me at a very strange time in my life.